Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to talk to you about X-Wing Epic. It still has not been announced or confirmed whatever they're going to be doing with X-Wing's Epic format, but a lot of people have been asking me about it, so I figured I'd just dedicate a video to talking about X-Wing Epic more along the lines of the future of changes that they could make to make it more accessible, make it more popular, make it more workable, and fix some of the problems that they had with original X-Wing 1.0 Epic. And one of the biggest problems they had in there was it took forever to play X-Wing 1.0 Epic. Before I get too far into it, though, I do want to remind you guys, if you are Armada players or are interested at all, I am giving away an Armada Imperial Squadrons pack to one lucky subscriber. All you have to do is become a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. I'll be giving that away after the new year. I'll be making a video. I'll announce the winner of that. I typically announce video or contest winners at the end of my videos, so stay tuned. Make sure you watch all the way to the end for most of my videos. That being said, let's talk about X-Wing Epic. There's a couple of things that I've always thought about. First off, I love the format. I don't think X-Wing Epic is going away. I don't think huge ships are totally done for. I do think they're lower priority because nobody really caught on to playing X-Wing Epic in a grand scale. And one of the biggest things was people started to realize, just fielding a whole bunch of smaller ships is just so much more effective. So if you were playing in like an Epic tournament and you just wanted to win, it was very, very easy to just be like, well, I'm just going to mass Y-Wing TLTs, and run a whole truckload of those. And, you just have the firepower to do it. So, obviously one of the things that they need to consider doing is making those big ships a little bit more tooled towards being a little more competitive. That seems fine, especially since there are numbers of how many epic points you can even have in a list. Having a Raider, for example, be really, really good is kind of balanced by the fact that you can't have two Raiders, and so you can make something maybe a little bit stronger if it's manufactured into the rules that you can't have more than one in a standard 300 point list, that was 300 points in X-Wing 1.0, would probably be 600 points in X-Wing 2.0. Granted, they could also change that point scheme around a little bit, but as of right now, I'm not sure what I would suggest that to change to exactly, because we don't know how much these epic ships will end up costing. I'm fine with 600 being the point limit, but I'm going to propose something new that I think could change the game a little bit more as well, and that's squad formations. And this is going to do a couple of things. So let's say if I wanted to fly TIE fighters, I could fly a TIE formation. And they would all be actually touching. I would have them all touching. They would move together. They would act together. And they would attack together. They would defend together. They would take damage together. I would treat them as a full-blown unit, semi-similar to how a full unit works in Star Wars Legion. And this would do a number of different things. First off, this would look cool. It would look thematic because I would actually have my swarm flying together in formation. It would also save a ton of time if I only have to plan one maneuver instead of planning, I would plan a squad maneuver as opposed to planning a crud ton of other maneuvers. Now, depending on balance or general ideas, you could potentially make a rule that says, okay, if they're in a formation, you can only do non-red maneuvers on your dial. Maybe something like that. Maybe it even increases the difficulty of every maneuver by one. Something along those lines. Possibility might be an easy way to just say, all right, you can't just do a K-turn or an S-loop with this many ships because then it gets complicated and then they're going to bump into each other. Or maybe you take a damage instead of a stress if you do a red maneuver, something like that. But the idea is they would take damage, but they would not be destroyed until they took enough damage up to the threshold. Now, the threshold may not be actually all of their hull combined. It may be the base amount of hull of one fighter plus one for each additional fighter you add into the unit. So this way they're stronger, but they're not too strong. There's a couple of ways they can do it, but the idea is having them all grouped together. The big plus that this is going to give you is it's going to give you a time saver. I only have to plan one dial instead of 6 dials if I have a TIE swarm like this of 6. I only have to do one activation instead of 6 activations. I only have to do one attack instead of 6 attacks. It's fine if it's more powerful. Epic has always been a more casual or fun or thematic style gameplay as well. So balance, while I don't want to throw balance out the window, I'm okay if this ends up being a little bit strong, especially in the 2.0 format, how everything is app-driven and controlled and able to be retooled and rebalanced anyway. It seems like it's safer to err on the side of fun rather than erring on the side of unplayability. So, a typical swarm like this would move, you would have the middle would be the leader. Maybe you put the leader on a higher peg than everybody else that might be standard. You're going to do your move from the leader, and you will only move the leader. After you move the leader, you then place everybody else in cohesion back into their normal thing. So they're actually, you'll notice that the rear guys are actually overlapping the tool a little bit. So you could, I left the tool there so you could see, but you would actually pick up the tool and then place everybody back in with the leader. At that point, if you can't place them, then maybe they're damaged, maybe they're destroyed, maybe maybe part of the unit, maybe you lose units at that point if you can't place them. They like crash into something. There could be things that make you lose unit. Maybe damage makes you lose units. Maybe you save damage until the whole unit has hit a threshold and then units start to fall off. But I do think having a swarm like that should allow you to take more than 3 damage before you lose a whole TIE fighter. The idea is that you can spread the damage around when it's incoming fire. However, crashing it into an asteroid, crashing into a huge ship might make you actually lose units, and you would then pick them off at that point. If you cannot place them back into cohesion, then you pick them off. Okay, this is the idea I have so far. Now, we're not restricted to only units of 6. We could have units of 4. It would be very simple. You just have those 4 in a square. We could potentially have units of 9. We have 3 more behind. I don't know if I would go more than 9, though, because at a certain point that might get a little bit crazy. But I'd be open to experimenting with cubes of like 12 or rectangles of 12 or even 16. I think that might be a little overkill, though. I think 9 is the most you could realistically expect from somebody. Although I expect 6 would be more common as far as like TIE swarms and things, because how many conversion kits are a lot of people going to buy? Business model for FFG, though, this could encourage more conversion kit sales. This could encourage more people to go out and buy TIE fighters. They thought they already had enough, but now you can run them. With only 2 TIE fighter activations, I can activate a group of 6 and another group of 6, for epic play. Maybe I want 12 TIE fighters now all of a sudden where I didn't before. I know some of you already have 12 TIE fighters, that's fine. But I think the vast majority of players don't have more ships than they can play in a regular 100-point or 200-point game. So, there's that. The other disadvantage of having a big group like that is even having just one unit in range of an attack is going to give you the ability that I can now attack that whole unit. So here you see I have a group of X-Wings, T-70 X-Wings, attacking a group of First Order TIE fighters. And look, that one guy's in range, so I can attack the whole unit. So that would be kind of one of those things because it makes your profile bigger. So while it's a pro, it also has its cons. See, I'm thinking this through a little bit, but you're free to let me know in the comments below what you think of it. And the goal of all of this is to make it more fun, make it quicker to play. It's one of the biggest problems in Armada and X-Wing Epic and like a lot of these really, really big games is like, oh, do you have 3 hours to set aside so we can set up? Got to set all of this up. But then we have to play like a 2.5-hour game. Then we have to tear it all down. So if you can bring that speed of that 2.5-hour game back down to like maybe 45 minutes or something like that, it might be way more popular. And this is one way I think you can do that. Also, if you're, maybe we do also have groups of 3. 3 is a very, very popular number of ships to fly together, right? It's a wing, it's a flight group, or whatever the word is. It's a very popular number. And here's a great thing. I'm using tools that they've already built into the game to do this. Because how do you line it up if you want to be super precise? You've got that line right in the middle of every ship base now in X-Wing 2.0. That's the point where you divide everybody in half. It's as simple as that. Everybody's got those little lines in the front of in middle of their base, and they have them everywhere. So you can have groups of 3 as well. So it's just makes perfect sense. It'll just be maybe not perfect sense, but there's definitely a mechanism in there to be able to line them up, have the bases touching, and they meet exactly at the halfway point. So you can even have groups of 3. I think it's a cool idea, but we've only been talking about small base ships. So what about other size bases of ships? I think large base ships you would rule out. I don't think it'd be cool to have 2 Millennium Falcons flying in a group. I just don't think you do that. But I will potentially, I do think it's maybe worth considering medium ships. Now, medium ships are probably better off on their own, but I could see maybe groups of 2 flying together. The other medium ship that kind of comes to mind is maybe like the IG-2000. Maybe you want to fly those in a group of 4. But I don't really think that's... For one, I mean, most of the medium ships aren't really swarm-based. Now, you might make special rules for certain medium ships, like the TIE Reaper to fly with TIE strikers and things like that. I could see some being slightly thematic, but overall, I think maybe the medium ships would be better off on their own. Large ships definitely be better off on their own. So that's kind of the idea, is just these flight groups. This would do a couple of things, and the first thing is it making the game quicker and a little bit easier to play and simpler and hopefully more fun. So like if it's quicker, it could easily be more fun, right? The second thing is, if it's quicker, you can also now really easily include epic formats or larger formats and make them able to easily support multiple players. Because if we can play this, if we can play a 600-point game in 45 minutes, well, now it's not such a big deal to add an extra player. Maybe we're only extending the time to an hour. Maybe we add 4 players, and maybe it's only an hour and 20 minutes at that point, which still, like some regular X-Wing games can go that long. So like that's now you've got epic, you've got a lot of stuff going on. But if you've got your squadrons, or you've got your fighters in these squadron formations, you have so much less to plan and move. Could really make the game a lot more fun. I'd love to hear what you guys think, though. Do you agree with me? Do you think that this is something that X-Wing Epic should consider doing in the future? And before you ask, those are Mel Miniatures turbo lasers that I have sitting on top of that Raider, because they're awesome, and I just put them on there. They're not permanently affixed to that Raider, but I think they're very, very cool, and they look pretty cool on it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think something like that is a good idea? I think it could end up making the Epic format very, very popular. I think if Epic was able to be played very quickly, you could have these big groups coming in, rolling bucketfuls of dice at each other. It'd be really fun. It doesn't have to be the tournament standard way of play, but it'd be a great way to get people interested and also give people something more to buy. Maybe something from a business standpoint. It seems to just make sense for me, because now you're encouraging people to buy that 4th X-Wing so they can make a 4x4 group of X-Wings. I mean, and that whole concept was used a lot in Rune Wars too, where you have your trays and you can make stuff bigger and bigger and bigger, and it wouldn't be that hard for them to do, especially if you consider that they tend to learn lessons from previous games. I think it'd work great. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Again, I already said that like 6 times. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Click on that bell for alerts so you can be notified when more video content comes out. Epic was probably my favorite way to play X-Wing, except for the fact that it was just so darn long and took forever. So would love to see something to speed it up. Alright guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to check out Crabbok.com and hop in my Discord and all that other stuff. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.